Good evening, everyone. Graham, 930 Turbo gearbox reconditioning. So I'm going to cheat a little bit this evening. This is what they call the pinion shaft, and you'll know it because it's got the fixed gear at the end there. Don't worry about the tape. I've already assembled the shaft up to where I only had to put on the final first gear wheel, because that requires a little bit of heating of the inner race to slide it on. But quickly, so I've got I put the shaft in my freezer to cool down for about 20 minutes. Then I use the electric heat gun, that jobby over there, to heat up the roller bearing and then the annular bearing. The annular bearing you'll know because it's got a little lip at the bottom of the bearing itself. So heated it up for about 5 minutes with that gun, and then basically this bearing just fell into place right up against the pinion gears there. Those are the gears that drives the diff. So effectively, although they call it the pinion shaft, it can also be called the output shaft because it drives the diff which drives the wheels. So roller bearing slid on. Next, with this bearing, right, it's best to put it's got two races, a bottom and a top inner race. It is best to first warm up the inner race, or the bottom race. Slide that into position first, then slide the bearing over it, then slightly heat up the top inner race, and then drop that onto the bearing. I did require to what I used was my old bearing inner race to just give it a slight tap down into position. Anyway, in position, and we can now start with the gears. My gearbox, I think it might differ, and you can see I've got the manual here just to make sure that I've got it all right. Always look at the marks of the gears, so it will tell you which word goes on. So I can see there that face touched the old bearing, and I slide it on like such into place, followed by our spacer ring into place. So that was fourth gear on first, spacer, third gear again. You can see there it tells me that circumference came to contact with that plate, and so I put it on exactly the same way into place. Then third gear bearing. So for some reason the manual shows that it should be just one piece, but my bearings got these roller pin bearings are two pieces onto a inner sleeve, and I just put them onto the inner sleeve. They fit nicely like that, and you can see they've got the matching teeth there, and on you go. Oop, maybe not. On you go, and in you go. And then third gear, which I assembled earlier on with a new synchro hub, new synchro ring, and spacing blocks in between. And there you go, like that, into position, and off you go. And then the sliding wheel, same thing. I cleaned the inner grooves a bit. It was a little bit sticky, but seems to be okay now. There you go. It needs to fall down by itself. It mustn't be sticky at all. And next, the only parts left is first gear. And there's first gear's needle bearing and first gear's needle bearing inner race, like so. And this race will go on here, but okay, it's going on now, but I'll just give it a clean up inside first, so that it slides a little bit more easier on. I don't really want to force it too much. And then I'll put the needle bearing over, and then I'll just slide the hub, first gear onto it. Alright, that's it for this evening, and then tomorrow evening we'll do that other baby over there, the input shaft. Thank you. Good evening.